Let me say hello. All right, welcome. I've done this webinar live a bunch of times, but today I'm actually going to go ahead and record this bit for those of you that have not been able to make it live to the webinar. And we're going to talk a little bit about my personal experience switching into UX UI design, as well as what it really takes to break into the industry of UX UI design without having to pay crazy amounts of money, as well as having it to take a ton of time. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna move my face out of the screen here, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, like I mentioned, today we're gonna talk about how to break into the UX industry without paying $15,000. So you're gonna learn some of the steps and some tips and tricks that I've laid out. And if you stay till the end, I'll answer some of the most common questions that you get about the learning process and all that. And don't worry, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to explain it in 1 second. So before we get started here, the one thing I'm going to ask is, if you've seen a lot of these or if you've been doing a lot of research for a while, is that you'll take action. Okay, so no matter what action you decide to take, is that you'll take action once this webinar is over. You'll take the next step to really change your career and start changing your life. I'm going to do a quick disclaimer here. Becoming a UX designer is not something that's going to happen overnight. And the framework that I'm going to share with today will make it easier for you to do so. But it's not going to be a get-rich-quick scheme or extremely easy overnight success type of situation. This takes hard work, but it's definitely doable. So for those of you that don't know what UX design is, and you were like, what is this person talking about? So UX UI design pertains to app and website design. So UI stands for user interface, and it's how things look. And UX stands for user experience, and it's how things work. So it really does pertain to app and websites. Here on the screen, I'm showing a ketchup bottle. If you all are familiar with these two different types of ketchup bottles, you know how one is easier to use than the other, and one looks better than the other. And this may help kind of explain UX and UI. When we think about apps or websites, I'm sure, some of you are familiar with bad experiences where you're frustrated, you can't figure out where to click. If you've ever used like a government website, a DMV website, those are really, hard to use. Whereas, when something is really easy to use, you know how much time you have left, you're more likely to use that product, okay? So this is an example of a bad user experience versus a good user experience. And this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to break into the industry so that you can become this designer. And for those of you that don't know, UX UI design does not involve coding. Okay, so it's a career that does not involve coding. It involves actually designing and thinking through how to solve problems and creating these types of interfaces. So now that that's out of the way, let me introduce myself. I've been talking for a couple minutes here and I haven't told you who I am. So my name is Maka. I'm a user experience designer, and this is a picture of me drinking a mezcal margarita on a rooftop. I've worked for a ton of really big companies, so IBM, PwC, John Deere, Microsoft, and I've been able to do some of the work for these companies, through freelance work and other opportunities. A little bit more about me. I went to school for mechanical engineering. So my whole undergrad degree, I worked really hard to get a job at Boeing as a design engineer. I thought this meant that I was going to get to design physical parts for the airplane, and this is my graduation cap here. So I was really excited about going to work here. I also really like cats. So I got that job and I was just not very happy. So this is an actual post from my Instagram. And, I think the movie's called Inside Out and her name is Sadness. And this is actually how I felt at work by then. And I was just really unhappy, really unfulfilled by the work that I was doing. So I'm sure some of you, if you're watching this, you may be able to relate, to this feeling of like, I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe there's, another job out there that might bring me a little bit of joy and fulfillment. So yeah, I did something really impulsive, and I decided to quit my job after only being there for about a year. And I decided to move back home. So I was on my way back to Florida, on my way back to my parents' house, and I actually ended up on a friend's couch in my old college town. And here's another Instagram post. I was driving back from Seattle all the way to Florida, somewhere through Montana, and, really dramatic Instagram post here. But yeah, I just decided to quit. And this is kind of what I was doing with my life. I was Googling, YouTubing, what should I do with my life? And at some point, I found out UX UI design. So I actually discovered UX UI design, and I was like, this is something that I could do for myself, but I knew it was going to take a lot of time and a lot of money, right? So there's all these programs out there, $15,000, $8,000, $10,000. So if you're watching this, you've probably done some of this research, right? And you've noticed that the programs out there are just really expensive, and the ones that are not super expensive, right? Like if you teach yourself on YouTube or on Coursera, you may not get the best results. So this is the research that I did, and I didn't have the money to pay for those programs. I had just quit my full-time job, and I highly do not recommend that to anyone. Even if you're super passionate about UX UI, I do not recommend you quit your job. There is a way for you to learn and transition smoothly without having to quit your job and do this. It added a lot of pressure. So I decided to teach myself. I spent about a year teaching myself, and it worked. I became pretty successful, and it was a difficult journey that took a lot of time. I did a lot of work for startups for free. I had to beg a lot of people to give me opportunities because, they saw a person who now had a master's degree in mechanical engineering, but they couldn't afford to pay me the rate of a master's degree because I didn't have a lot of experience in design. I ended up just asking a lot of people for opportunities and chances to break into the field. And ultimately, I did it. So this was a picture of me a couple years into my job as a UX UI design with some of my teammates. And I was honestly really happy. And I was able to move really fast from a junior designer to a senior designer to then a manager of teams, managing designers, giving creative direction. And this is me now. So I always wanted a Tesla ever since, they came out, and I was able to buy myself one. This is me vacationing in Argentina. I'm from Argentina. I was able to go back there and kind of visit. This is me. I'm a big Gordon Ramsay fan, and I was able to go eat at this restaurant in London. And aside from like the nice lifestyle that I was able to afford with this job, the work that I was doing, I loved the work that I was doing as a designer, right? This is a bunch of pictures with the team that I worked with for a while. We did like group exercise challenges as a team. We did movie days. We collaborated. It was really fun. It was really, really fun to be a designer. It was really fulfilling. It was the first time ever that I got to, work, and I would wake up and be like, I'm so excited for work today. I was fulfilled. So now imagine this for yourself, right? Imagine if you could, make a good amount of money, if you could be really happy about the work you did, and just have that kind of freedom to just be happy and afford the lifestyle that you want. Like if you could break into the UX industry without having to pay $1,500, without having to go through the painful process that I went through of teaching myself and begging people and like all of that, this is what it takes. What would that do for you, right? So let's get into it. I've outlined here the 3 secrets to learn UX design without paying so much money. So secret number 1 is how to learn UX design without a master's degree. Secret number 2 is how to land a UX job without any real experience. And secret number 3, how to learn the basics of UX in under 2 months. So secret number 1, how to learn UX design without a master's degree. So the number 1 question I get all the time is, when I'm talking to you all about thinking about changing careers is, do I need a master's degree? Should I pursue a 2-year or 1-year program? And you don't. You don't need a master's degree. You don't even need a college degree, period, to get a job in UX design. So you can become a UX designer without a master's degree, and to do that, you need to learn the basics, okay? So you need to understand the process and the work that's involved in the day-to-day life of a UX UI designer. You need to build a portfolio, and you need to work on your communication skills. Because even if you know the basics and you have a portfolio, if you're not able to present the work, it's going to be really difficult for you during the interview process to explain, the work that you've done. So here are the 3 things that you want to do to become a UX designer. So in terms of learning the basics, right? You want to make sure you don't spend months just watching a ton of YouTube videos and not doing anything, right? You want to make sure that you're learning by doing. That's the best way to learn in terms of making mistakes and learning from your mistakes. So don't spend weeks and months, if you haven't already, just watching a bunch of videos, and start doing, right? Like as soon as this webinar is over, start learning how to do these activities. Do a sitemap, do a user flow, practice, create style guides. You want to start doing in terms of learning. The next step you want to do is you want to build a portfolio. So you want to have a good, 2 to 3 different case studies in your portfolio. And a portfolio is basically a website that shows samples of your work. So this is really, really important. This is what a hiring manager uses to see the quality of your work. So you want to have a good portfolio that shows your thinking process and explains how you make certain decisions and why you made those decisions. And then kind of going on that, on how and why you make certain decisions, you need to work on your communication skills. So you need to practice presenting the work you've done, standing behind the decisions you've made, and stuff like that, okay? Because you are going to have to interview for a job. I want to share a little bit about Gavin. Gavin is a student that I've had, one of the first students I had years and years ago. Gavin learned the basics. He built an awesome portfolio with 3 projects in it, and his communication skills were really, really good. And we just learned to tweak his skills for UX UI design, learn the right words, how to explain his thought process. And for Gavin, I actually hired him to come work for me for a freelance role at a very, very high hourly rate. Like, he was just amazing. And now he's working full-time for Rocket Mortgage as a UX designer. So it's definitely doable. You can do it. He had a completely different background before, and he was able to make the switch into UX design. So again, there's 3 secrets, and we just went over secret number 1, how to learn UX design without a master's degree. So now we're just going to quickly jump into secret number 2, how to land a UX job without any real experience. So this is a problem everyone has, right? The job requires experience, and to get experience, you need a job. So it's a circular kind of process that we can't get out of. So how to land a job without real experience? First, you want to have a portfolio that explains your process. I'm doing air quotes and you guys can't see me, but even if there are fake projects or projects you've made up, you want to, you've gone through a process. So you want to define the problem, explain the process, and you want to make sure that you're really explaining the process, not just here's the first image and here's the final image, done, I did a project, check it off your list, right? I see a lot of portfolios that are like that. You want to make sure you're explaining your process. You need to be clear and to the point, walk through why you did certain things, why you choose that research method, what were your findings, what were the key insights from your research, okay? So you have to explain your process in your portfolio. Number 2, you need to apply to a lot of jobs, okay? So if your portfolio is amazing, you've explained your process, and then you say to me, hey, I've been applying to a lot of jobs, I'm not getting interviews, so I'm not getting a job. and I ask you how many jobs you've applied to and you say a lot, and then I ask you for a number and you say 10, that's not a lot, okay? These days you need to apply to hundreds of jobs, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So you have to be prepared to apply to a lot of jobs. And I would highly encourage you to do something systematic. I would highly encourage you to just keep track of how many jobs you're applying to, and just be mentally prepared to know it could take a couple of months, because interviewing, you might do 4 or 5 interviews, and that may take a couple of months alone for just one company. So it may take anywhere from a couple of weeks to, a month or so to hear a yes. So it does take a little bit of work, but if you put in the work and you apply to jobs, then you'll see the outcome. And then step number 3 here, again, presentation skills. So you're going to have to be able to talk about your past experience and how it applies to the UX UI design world. You're going to have to be able to interview, and explain to them the actual work that you've done. And now, I just went over secret number 1, secret number 2. So let's talk about how to learn the basics of UX in under 2 months. So you don't need to do, a year and a half long program, and you don't need to know every single detail of every single skill. Okay, there is a way that you can learn this in under 2 months. And I'm going to share that framework. So step 1, follow a curriculum. It's so easy to go into YouTube and spend hours and hours and days and weeks looking at just everything that's there, and then go to the next video and the next video and just go down a rabbit hole of what they're recommending. Don't do that, okay? You need to make sure that either you've put together a curriculum for yourself, you're joining a program that has a curriculum so you know exactly what you need to know. Like, there needs to be a outline of what you're learning so that you can feel accomplished, and so that you know exactly that you're learning what you need to learn. Step number 2, and I mentioned this a little bit ago, but you're going to want to apply what you learn. Just because you watched a lot of videos, read a lot of articles, if you haven't done anything yourself, you don't know the information yet. It's very different actually doing the work, okay? And then step number 3, you want to receive feedback. So even if you don't join a course, or the course that we have, or you're learning this on your own, you need to find people to give you feedback. Otherwise, you're just blindly doing and not knowing if you're doing it correctly, okay? This is the biggest mistake that I see people do, is they do these like free courses or like $39 a month course, and then they have no feedback. And when I look at their portfolios, I look at their work, it's not good. And that's because, sure, there was a curriculum, they did some activities, but they did not receive feedback from experts. And therefore their work is not okay. There's a lot of red flags. So you must do all 3 of these steps so that you know that you're learning the correct thing. So again, follow a curriculum, join a course if you need to, put together a plan. There just needs to be a plan. Even if you don't join a course, there needs to be a plan. Do the activities, right? Build a sitemap, a style guide, a prototype, apply the skills that you're learning in the content you're learning, and then receive feedback. Find yourself a mentor, have them review the work, make sure that it makes sense along the path, and that you're course correcting as you're going along instead of just, at the end. So that's it, right? Those are the 3 secrets. So you don't need a master's degree. You can learn UX without a master's degree. You can land a job without any UX UI experience, and you can learn the basics of UX UI in just under 2 months, as long as you have a plan set out that I just covered. So let me ask you a question, right? I know I just went through a lot of information, but I'd love if right now I could just show you all what I've put together. I put together this program, and it's really, really helpful, really affordable, and it's quick for you to, be able to do everything we just talked about. So I'm going to go through that really quick, and then I'm going to answer a couple questions that I usually get. So what I did is I created the Avocademy UX UI Design Foundations program. And it's called Foundations because we really teach you just that, right? The foundations of UX design. Over, 8 to 16 weeks, it's super flexible, so you can choose how many hours a week you want to spend on it. You get to learn everything you need to know to be able to go through from whatever career you're currently doing to start working in a UX UI design job. So like I said before, it's really important you build a full portfolio. And in this program, you're going to actually learn everything you need to know to be able to start in that job. This is what the program looks like. You can see there's, some mentors here, help, who you can message, all of that information. Most importantly, you're not going to have to spend 12 months trying to learn this like in a traditional boot camp. We've actually set up it's super flexible, so you can learn in as little as 8 weeks. And we have our own approach that we know that it works, and we've seen it work over and over again. And you're also not going to have to spend $15,000, $24,000 like in some of these other programs, okay? So we do this by helping you like really giving your own like customized learning experience. And you can choose the problem you want to solve. And then you can see how literally here we start with what is user experience, the difference between UX and UI design. You don't need to know anything before you start this course. You just need to be willing to, make this career change and make a commitment to yourself. And we can help you do this, in as little as 8 weeks. So throughout the course, you'll learn UX research, UX design, and UI design. And that's really important because it opens up the opportunities for you when you start applying for work. We'll teach you Figma, which is one of the most used tools right now in the field. And we'll also teach you how to learn the other tools, as well as a bunch of other tools that work with Figma and the UI, UX design, prototyping process, everything you need to know. This is a screenshot actually from a video where one of our instructors is actually teaching some very basic, text skills. In the course itself, you're able to have unlimited mentorship. So what does this mean? You get to use Slack to submit your assignments and then get feedback from our mentors. So you can see here, I blocked out their names for privacy reasons, but you can see here, at 1:26, this student submitted, this was today, this student submitted their activity. And then, that was an hour ago from when I took the screenshot. And then literally in 40 minutes, a mentor had responded here. So we try to keep our feedback within 24 hours so that you're not waiting very long for feedback. And I think at the time that I'm recording this, we have about 160 some mentors in the program. So there's a ton of different folks you can learn from. And with that huge number of mentors comes the fact that you can schedule Zoom calls. So this is what our interface looks like. You can select which mentor you're on, and you can select the time that works for you so that you can get feedback either through Slack or through Zoom, whatever works better for you. This is meant to be super flexible and teach you in the way that you like to learn. So if you're interested in seeing what these portfolio looks like, you can go to avocademy.com and click on success stories, and then it's actually going to link you to a bunch of different student portfolios. And you can see where they're currently working at after completing the program. I highly recommend it. It's super inspiring to see where the students are going. And kind of where they're at after completing the program. And when I talk about a portfolio, it's really this, right? And I covered her face and her name, but it's a website, and it'll have just a little bit about yourself and then your different projects. So these are actual projects that this student completed as part of our programs, okay? When you finish the program, you'll go ahead and get a certification. So this is a certificate, and you'll get a badge that you can add to your LinkedIn. So let me ask you this. If all this did was help you learn UX design without getting a master's degree, would this be worth it? If all this did was help you change careers without already having UX experience, would it be worth it? And if all this did was help you be fulfilled in this career without spending years and tens of thousands of dollars, would this be worth it? I really had, two choices, okay? So the first option was to create a really cheap course and try to sell as many as possible and not really provide you all that one-on-one support, right? The second option, or the second choice that I had, required a little bit more investment in terms of my time and setting up this program. But in exchange, this allows myself and our mentors to put more resources and guarantee your success. So I went with the second option. I created this program so that you have unlimited mentorship, so that you have all the help that you're able and the help you need so that you're able to succeed and really, really change careers and have that life that I showed you is possible. So the real question now, is, are you going to make this investment in yourself? And I'll walk you through how this works in terms of details, and then you all can decide or reach out if you have any questions. Okay? So I mentioned this is a two-step program. The first step is UX UI Foundations program, and the second step is Career Jumpstart. So the step 1 is Foundations, and it's 8 to 16 weeks. So you can spend a maximum of 16 weeks in the program of unlimited mentorship. And in this program, you're learning UX design, UX research, and UI design. You're going to complete and add one project to your portfolio. We're going to show you how to build a portfolio. We're going to show you how to do that project. You're going to do all of these activities. We're going to help you with your resume. We're going to give you unlimited mentorship. So I showed you how, all of this comes together a second ago, right? And then the second program, you go ahead and apply to the second program. And here you're going to spend the first 2 weeks elevating your design skills. Then you're going to spend about 12 weeks on real client projects. So we're going to give you experience working with real startups and nonprofits. We're going to give you experience collaborating with other students. And then we're going to help you for 2 to 6 months in the job search. And really, the differential here is that in other boot camps, they're going to graduate you once you're done doing your projects, and they're going to help you after graduation with your job search. For us, our job is not finished until you found a job. So we include the job search as part of the program, okay? In Career Jumpstart, we're going to teach you advanced design skills. We're going to get to collaborate with other students on real client projects. We're going to help you with your resume and with your portfolio. We're going to create a job search plan, tell you how many jobs to apply to, where to find them. You're going to have unlimited mock interview help. So we have a bunch of career coaches that can help you interview before, do mock interviews before you land interviews. And then we have direct referrals to hiring managers or recruiters. So on top of that, we have salary negotiation. So we help our students negotiate anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 more on their final offers. And on top of that, our students are averaging $85,000 a year starting salary. That's $20,000 more than the national average. The national average for this career is $65,000, and our students are landing $85,000 a year jobs on average. We've even seen students land jobs in the 6 figures, 100K, 120. The highest we've seen to date is 184K, and this person had no previous design experience, okay? So we're not, guaranteeing any of those numbers, but the average is 85K. So in Jumpstart, you're working on real client projects. You get to collaborate with other students. We have our lead PM who comes in here and posts all the different projects that you're able to work on, and then you're able to add these to your portfolio so that you can talk about these in your interviews. So we'll help you finish the portfolio that you start in Foundations, and you can see so that there's at least 3 projects in your portfolio. So here, this student that I showed you earlier, this project was her Foundations project, and then she did 2 client projects, and this is a project that she did as part of Career Jumpstart as well. So she had 4 projects by the time she was done, and she was able to find a job. I believe she landed a job in about 2 months from when she started applying. So now you have 2 choices, right? It's either take a leap, right? Or not. So you can either start learning or you can just not take action, right? And that's really, really up to you. So on our end, we have a 7-day guarantee. So for UX UI Foundations, if within 7 days of when you signed up, it's not for you, you can get your money back. So there's no worries about that at all. And our space is limited. We start every Monday, and we have a limited amount of space for every Monday. So just make sure that if you're interested, you go ahead and sign up. You'll be able to see which start dates are available at sign up. And if not, feel free to reach out. There's a little QR code here to book a call to learn more, or you can even text us here using the other QR code and see when you're looking to start and if there's still space. So the foundations program is $2,997 if you pay up front, or you can finance it with one of our financing partners. In this example, I'm showing Affirm, and Affirm lets you start for as little as $103 a month. This is with a 15% APR, and this number already includes that APR in it. So you could start with this number. If for some reason you go and try to get it qualified for Affirm, but you don't get approved, just send us an email or reach out to us via text, schedule a call, and we'll send you some other information, okay? So, like I said, 2 programs, Foundations, Career Jumpstart. Foundations we just talked about is $2,997. We have payment plans starting at $103. The amazing part here is that if you finish before the 16 weeks that we give you, we're going to give you back $500 of the money that you paid, okay? And that is really because we want you to finish. So we want to encourage you to finish the program so that we can give you money back. So really, if you think about it, it's $2,497. So this is a huge incentive to get you to finish. And then in Career Jumpstart program, you don't have to pay anything up front. Instead, at graduation, you pay $4,500, and that can be financed for as little as $125 a month. So really, if you can sign up here and pay this amount of money, you do not need to pay anything else until you land that job, right? Until you finish Career Jumpstart. So who can take this program? The UX UI Foundations program, anyone can take the program. We have financing available for US, UK, and Canada, but it's really open to anyone that wants to take it. For Career Jumpstart, you must finish the Foundations program and then apply for Career Jumpstart. If you did another bootcamp and have a portfolio, you can skip Foundations and you can apply for Career Jumpstart at avocademy.com/career-jumpstart. I'll let you know, though, that some of these other programs that you all complete, you create a portfolio, and then the portfolio has a bunch of red flags, and we cannot accept you into Career Jumpstart because Career Jumpstart really forces you to hit the ground running and start working on those client projects. And if we see that there's a lot of red flags in your portfolio because maybe you did the Google UX course or you did some other bootcamp and the foundations are not really there, then we're not going to admit you into Career Jumpstart, okay? So you can go ahead and apply. We'll review your work, and then we'll let you know if you are, accepted into CJ or not. And it's really available for anyone. So we have a Career Jumpstart USA, and then we have a Career Jumpstart International. So depending on where you're located, you will be able to do that Career Jumpstart. So there's some difference in details. International does not include the job search phase, but I don't want to get into all of those details right now. Feel free to reach out and we can kind of go through that if you're interested in Career Jumpstart. So now that I've gone through the course and showed you how I can help you, how Avo Academy can help you, I want to answer some of the usual questions that I get when I do this live. And then if you all have any other questions, you can get this number down and you can text me. And we'll go from there. I've also included this book a call to learn more. So here you can book a call with one of our career advisors, and then here you can just text us. This will literally open a text message to this number, shoot us a message, and we'll get back to you. So what kind of computer do I need? So for the career, most designers use Macs, but for the course, you do not need a MacBook, okay? So we've set this up so that all you need is an internet connection and a web browser. So if you have a computer, you can use a Windows computer as long as you can use Figma. So there's really no specific type of computer you need. We even have had students go to the library and use a library computer to complete their assignments. So there's no specific computer requirements, just a computer. What should I do before I take this course? Nothing. Sign up for the course. There's no prereqs like I showed you. Our first lesson is what is UX design, the difference between UX and UI design. And if you already know that it's okay, you don't need to watch those lessons, you can skip them and start doing the activities and really benefit from the one-on-one mentorship that we'll do. So there's no prereqs for this course. When can I start? So I mentioned this, you can start any Monday as long as we still have space in the course. So Monday is our usual start date. You select which Monday you want to start and then you start. So what are the live class times? I always get this question. There is no required live classes. So if I didn't make that clear yet, no live classes. You will not be going on Zoom at like 7 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like, that's not how this works. Instead, all the content is online. You get to watch the videos, do the readings, look at the activities, and then when you're ready for the one-on-one time, you schedule that one-on-one time for a time that fits your schedule. So there's no actual live classes that you have to make at a specific time. Instead, you get to pick the times that you want to meet with mentors. We do have some additional resources. We have office hours that you can join live in a group. Once or twice a month, we have live speakers. So there are different additional live things you can do, but none of it is required. So can I freeze the course? Yes. So we know that life happens and there's emergencies. So we give you the ability to pause. And then you can come back and pick up where you left off. And all of that information is going to be found in the course or in our FAQ on our website. So what mentorship is available? All mentorship is available in the course, right? The course is entirely all mentorship. So you have unlimited mentorship. You can schedule as many calls with our mentors. You can message, the mentors on Slack. We will record videos for anything that you need help with. And then, like I mentioned, we have these live speaker series where we have the speakers from industry. We have someone from Google come and talk about typography. We had someone from PwC come talk about voice UX. So once or twice a month, we have these speakers come talk about different awesome topics. And then that gets recorded and added to the course. So you'll see this library of, I think it's almost more than 100 speakers that have come in the past in the course. And if there's something interesting to you that you want to learn about, you can learn about that from those speakers. Let's see. Do I need to learn how to code? Absolutely not. There's no coding involved in UX UI design. This is everything that comes before coding: understanding the problem, doing research, site mapping, wireframing. So you don't need to learn how to code, and we don't teach coding. I know that some of the job descriptions say HTML, CSS, but we teach you how to design so that someone can code it. Okay, it's called responsive design. We'll teach you style guides. So we'll teach you everything you need to know to land that job. You do not need to worry about learning how to code. So again, if you have any questions, if you're still here, here's my phone number. It's going to be down in the comment section as well. If you're on YouTube, feel free to reach out. And if not, I hope I see you enrolled and that we can, start working together next Monday or any upcoming Monday. Thank you all for joining. This was great. I'm glad I was able to get to explain this to you today, and I hope to see you all soon.